Wild boars have turned into a real nightmare for farmers across the United States. These invasive pigs tear through fields in search of food, ripping up pastures, destroying crops, and causing thousands of dollars in damage that can ruin an entire season's harvest in just a few nights. What makes the problem even worse is their incredible ability to multiply. A single sow can give birth to as many as 12 piglets per litter and breed twice a year, which means populations can double in no time. Even with aggressive control measures like trapping, heavy-duty fencing, and regulated hunting, the numbers continue to surge, creating a growing headache for rural communities everywhere. That's exactly why my crew and I headed out to the field today, not just for the excitement of the chase we all enjoy, but to lend a real hand to a local farmer whose land is being hammered daily by these destructive feral hogs.
Olmadı yaman. Vuruldu ama.
We got started bright and early, just as the sun was beginning to warm the air, on a stretch of timber behind a neighboring property. The moment we arrived, the team sprang into action, grabbing rifles, finding solid positions, and settling in while the dogs got to work accordingly. It didn't take long before things heated up. Out of nowhere, the silence shattered with frantic barking from the dogs. A massive wild hog burst into cover, bayed and pinned by the pack, barreling straight at our line like a freight train. Heart pounding, I tracked it smooth as it charged, lined up the shot, and squeezed the trigger. The first 2 rounds slammed high into its shoulder, solid hits, but the beast didn't break stride. The third? Perfect placement.
Okay.
It crumpled right there. Our first trophy of the day, locked in after hours of patient scouting. Turns out, that patch of forest was skimpy on boars, so the crew broke camp and pushed on to prime territory. The dogs were still wired, ripping ahead with tails high and noses glued to the dirt. IT paid off fast. We barely cleared the trees. This hog bayed up tight, thrashing wildly in a narrow creek bed, desperate to claw its way out. I kept my feet, shouldered the rifle steady, and dropped a clean shot across the stream. There it stood frozen, a low hill rising opposite us, choked with chest-high brush that screamed ambush potential. This was exactly the kind of thick, tangled cover that wild hogs love to hole up in dense brush where they feel safe. But we claimed the high ground, giving us a clear vantage point, and with everyone scanning the greenery for the slightest movement, nothing was getting past US without being spotted. Sure enough, just minutes later, a dark shape ghosted through the undergrowth. A quick volley of shots ripped through the quiet morning air. .1 bullet found its mark, but it wasn't a clean kill. The hit hog exploded into a frenzy, wheeling around in panic before staggering a few more steps and tumbling headlong down the steep embankment in a crashing heap. After sitting tight in that spot for over an hour with no more action, we picked up our gear and moved to another part of the woods, a spot known for frequent hog sightings. We barely had time to get settled when the dogs picked up a hot trail, locking onto a group of hogs bedded down in heavy cover. I fired off a couple of quick shots into the brush to flush them out. The entire sounder burst into pandemonium, pigs bolting in every direction with grunts echoing through the trees as they smashed through the timber. That's when I spotted one tough old boar refusing to budge, hunkered low under some overhanging branches. Welcome to Leopard Farm, Alaska. Bear encounters aren't just a campfire thing. They're a part of life, whether you're in the quiet suburbs of Anchorage or in a remote village with no roads in or out. Black and grizzly bears are smart, strong, and blessed with noses that can sniff out dinner from miles away. When berries, salmon, or other natural foods become scarce, these bears won't hesitate to head into town in search of an easier meal. Trash cans, bird feeders, chicken coops, a cooler on the porch. Suddenly your backyard smells like an all-you-can-eat buffet. That's when things get serious. Communities, police, fish and game officials, and even hunters have to work together and get creative to keep people and bears safe. To give you an idea of how common this is, in 2010 alone, Alaska recorded 125 bear-related incidents in residential areas, most of which occurred in neighborhoods adjacent to forests, rivers, or ancient migration routes that bears have used for thousands of years. Although about 1 in 10 close encounters have potential to turn bad, hunters in Alaska went 6 consecutive years, 2010 to 2015, without a single serious bear injury. To prevent black bears from turning neighborhoods into all-you-can-eat buffets, the state has implemented carefully managed hunting programs around places like Fairbanks. These programs are not only meant to control populations, but also act as outdoor classrooms. Every hunter who wants to participate must undergo at least 40 hours of intensive, hands-on training beforehand. Picture this: a lifelike bear suddenly lunges at you 30 yards away, while an instructor yells signals. You have to read its body language in a split second, stay calm, and make the right decision: back off or stand your ground. Eventually, the hunters will leave knowing exactly how to handle themselves out there, making the woods safer for both bears and humans. In the endless wilderness of Alaska, where grizzly bears and moose rule the backcountry, professional hunters understand that success often comes from shot from hundreds of yards away. That's why today's Alaskan hunters rely on precision long-range rifles equipped with advanced optics. It's not just shooting and praying. It's patience, reading the wind, aligning the barrel, and squeezing the trigger with a chill in your veins. Shot will bring down a large prey quickly and cleanly, sparing the animal unnecessary suffering and avoiding a difficult situation with an angry bear or bull before you can get shot. Distance is your friend here, and that's where long-range hunting skills really shine. But even the best rifles and scopes have their limits in this dense, harsh landscape. That's why more and more hunters and game managers are turning to elite hunting dogs, hardy, disciplined pooches who can turn a nightmarish stalk into a controlled hunt. These dogs aren't pets. They're four-legged professionals trained to track, bark, and capture tree bears in places no sane person would want to wander alone. Depending on the country and the size of the management unit, the team typically has between 5 and 7 dogs. Their job is simple but brutal. Push the bear out of the oak and raspberry bushes, lead it to an open space, or force it up a spruce tree, where it becomes trapped and the hunter has all the time.
Got him.
Once the bear is up the tree, the chaos stops. The dogs hold it there, barking like crazy, while the hunter remains calm, safe, and in complete control. It's the gold standard for catching problem bears or completing a mission without turning the hunt into a
Nice shot. Nice shot, dude.
Alaska doesn't mess around when it comes to dog hunting. In fact, the state's hound organizations enforce some of the strictest standards you'll find anywhere in the lower 48
Nice
states.
shot!
Each dog must undergo at least 6 months of rigorous training before even seeing a real bear. We're talking about tracking closely, learning to bark in specific patterns so the handler knows exactly what's happening 200 yards away in the Devil's Club, flying wide circles to hold a bear without crowding it, and most importantly, absolute obedience when a 900-pound coastal brown bear is charging and adrenaline is running high. One broken command can turn a controlled hunt into a disaster, so these dogs are trained under pressure until they're nearly unstoppable. A handler has to be worthy of the title, too. You can't just buy a couple of Karelian bear dogs and call yourself a bear hunter in Alaska. Most teams require at least 2 full seasons, often more, proven field experience before you're trusted to lead a pack on a bear hunt or even called up as a manager. You have to know each dog